My dear friends, until the next time, this is the voice of the last day prophet of God projected to all mankind everywhere. The kingdom of heaven is at hand, and Jesus Christ is coming in your lifetime. This is the last generation and the last time. Prepare to meet your God. Maranatha.
Driver Tom Tettman here on Federal News Network. They say an army travels on its stomach. It also travels on spare parts. And in that regard, the Defense Department's got a problem. The Inspector General has found that one spare parts supplier, a company called TransDigm, received payments that resulted in nearly $21 million in excess profits. For more, we turn to the General Counsel at the Project on Government Oversight, Scott Amy. Scott, good to have you back.
Oh, good morning. Thank you.
Just review the specifics here about this case, because the numbers are pretty startling.
Certainly. Well, in this case, you have TransDigm, which is a aerospace spare parts provider, and they've been on kind of at the tip of the spear for the Department of Defense IG for quite a few years, in the fact that some of their profit margins on some of their spare parts are extremely high. We're talking in the 500%, 1,000%, even up to the nearly 4,000% higher than what it costs to actually manufacture these parts. And so there's been some questions about TransDigm's business model, because they come in and a lot of times buy up smaller providers that have unique contracts with the Department of Defense to supply these spare parts, and then immediately the price of these parts increases. And so there's some real questions about TransDigm's business model. And then these reports actually raise a lot of questions about why the Department of Defense keeps turning to them and paying these outrageous prices. And so I think it's kind of a perfect storm here that you want to point a finger at the contractor, but then you also need to point a finger at the Department of Defense on why do you keep entering bad deals?
Yes, and that idea of profit margin, doesn't it vary depending on the price and the part? For example, if it costs you 1/100th of a cent to make a pin, but you sell the pin for a penny because you have distribution and packaging and mailing costs, then that might be 1,000% increase, but from 1/100th of a cent to a cent. Whereas if it costs you $1 million to make a part and you sell it for $1.2 million, then you're only 20%.
Certainly. I've never really worried about profit margin as much, because we've seen some bad deals where there was only a 5% profit margin in comparison to some other offer where there was maybe a 30% profit margin. And when you look at it, especially fixed prices, they might have just shuffled prices around. And so profit doesn't mean that much to me. But with these profit margins, they are extremely high. And the company will say, well, we charge these not only for the reasons you just stated, but also because in a lot of these instances, we haven't produced these parts in a very long time. We have to relearn how to produce them. We have to re-engineer our machinery to produce these parts. And that takes time and money and resources, and that's why we're so high. But there's got to be a way for the Department of Defense to figure this out, to come to a better solution that ensures that we're not paying such high prices. And especially because these are sole source contracts. And that's part of the other thing is, you know, the Department of Defense in a lot of instances says they don't have other places to go. And the claim is that these are commercial products. So at that point, all these things create a perfect storm where the government contracting officer isn't getting really good data in that it can analyze whether the prices that it agrees to are fair and reasonable. And until the government gets access to that data, the government's going to keep buying, pin the tail on the donkey, blind with a blindfold on. And it would be like in the consumer market that you're going in and you're buying a car without a sticker price, or you're not really seeing prices on, how would you like it if you didn't see prices on Amazon or eBay or Walmart or any other places on the internet? You don't get to see prices. And then those vendors come back to you and say, well, go other places and see what you can find and determine whether our unnamed price is kind of fair and reasonable. And so it's really putting the government in a really bad position as a buyer.
We're speaking with Scott Amy. He's General Counsel at the Project on Government Oversight. And when they produce and plan and buy weapons platforms and so forth, there's always the life cycle costing that goes into the military planning. And that takes into account the cost of replacing engines down the line. But we're talking about mundane types of nuts and bolts sort of parts. Is that the issue here?
Oh, certainly. That's exactly what the issue is. And for many years, everybody's been worried about spare parts. In the old days, Togo made its living off of spare parts, and that was the coffee pot, the toilet seats, and the hammer. I mean, the government, and especially the Department of Defense, have never been really good buyers of these. You're absolutely right. It's screws, it's bolts and nuts and all different things that go into these with huge markups and, much higher, and especially with them labeled as commercial. Some of these you can go into a hardware store and buy, and you're like, well, why are we buying this screw or nut that costs 5 cents over at the local hardware store or at the box store? And then why is the federal government spending $80 on it?
Yes, I recall many years ago someone I knew that owned an airplane, and it needed piston rings. And he said, I could go and buy the same piston ring for my car, and it would be $10. But because it has an FAA stamp on it, the same piston ring is $100 because it's going in an airplane, and presumably maybe it meets different specs. But if that's not the case, where is the Defense Logistics Agency and some of the oversight structures like the Defense Contract Audit Agency and so forth that presumably look at these kinds of things routinely?
Well, they should. I think a lot of these, pardon the pun, but a lot of these spare parts fly under the radar. They're small procurements. They're for a small quantity. And so that's actually how TransDigm, and it's just not TransDigm. I mean, we've seen spare parts horror stories and IG reports that date back, 20, 30 years. Even in the most recent reports that the IG did about TransDigm, they talk about other reports that are 23 years old in which the Department of Defense didn't do a very good job. But it's also the access to information. And so the federal government doesn't have the best access. Like, they have a list of things that the contracting officer should do to check off to try to determine whether the prices and costs are fair and reasonable. Well, guess what last on the list is? Like 8th or 9th down on the list is ask the contractor for price or costing data. And so a lot of times the contractor isn't providing that information to the government. The government is having to do market research, previous prices paid. They're having to look at other vendors and what they provide these goods or services to the government for. So the last thing is, now if we were consumers and you had to do all this other pricing data without, going right to the direct vendor and saying, okay, how much do these shoes cost? We would never do it. And so it really does put the government in a bad situation. And so the government doesn't have the best information when it buys these products or services. Now, TransDigm, if you watched the hearing a few weeks ago, they'll say, but these are our commercial prices, and we're even giving the federal government and the Department of Defense a discount. But the question is, can we buy more in bulk? Can we merge these together? If you know that you're going to need this order over the next 2 or 3 years, instead of buying it 30 quantities of 13 or 15, can we buy 100 of them because you know you're going to sit on them? And the other thing I think is the federal government needs to find a way to, get out of these sole source deals and have some kind of multiple award procurement, that there are other vendors that we can turn to produce these spare parts and try to get them cheaper and allow competition to take over. I mean, there's a lot of key terms here that sound really good for the taxpayer. It's commercial. Market forces are driving it. You got a discount. But at the end of the day, the IG's report from, I think it was about 3 years ago, showed that TransDigm overcharged or had excessive profits about $16 million. And this one comes out, the most recent report from December comes out and says the number was closer to $21 million and are asking for refund. Now, 3 years ago, TransDigm provided a refund of that money. It'll be interesting to see if they follow that path and provide a $21 or $20.8 million refund today. We're in a situation where contractors are taking advantage of systems. I mean, we have systems where this data doesn't have to be provided to the government. These contracts are under thresholds where certified cost or pricing data needs to be turned over, where that's where you really can get in and see exactly. They've certified what this actually costs. The government can see that, and we can buy smarter. Unfortunately, these are mostly under that radar, and we're not seeing that type of information. So the government is really kind of buying with a question mark behind it.
Because often you can find similar-looking things that might be made in China or Thailand or Vietnam, and they're not really the same grade. Is it fair to say that at least with TransDigm, there is accountability for the quality and provenance of the part?
Certainly, and there's been a big effort even with the Trump administration and now with the Biden administration to buy American. So I don't have a problem with that. We just need more people at the table to make sure that we're getting fair and reasonable prices, because if TransDigm is saying, well, we're giving you a discount, and this is a discount off of our market rate that we're selling to Boeing and Lockheed and Airbus and the other aerospace contractors out there, that sounds like we're getting a really decent deal, but at the end of the day, we're still overpaying on a lot of these things, and we need to come to a better solution.
Scott Amy is General Counsel at the Project on Government Oversight. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you, Tom. You have a great day.
We'll post this interview along with a link to more information at federalnewsnetwork.com/Federal Drive. Hear the Federal Drive on demand. Subscribe at Podcast One or wherever you get your shows. Still to come, what full-year appropriations halfway through the year would mean to contracting. This is the Federal Drive with Tom Temin here on Federal News Radio, part of the Federal News Network.
Now today's Federal Newscast. A union representing federal firefighters is calling on the Labor Department to create a special unit that would fast-track workers' compensation claims. The National Federation of Federal Employees says a special claims unit within the agency would help federal wildland firefighters receive compensation and health care for injuries sustained on the job. The union says more frequent and intense wildfires have led to an increase in work injuries among federal firefighters. The Department of Homeland Security is eyeing some new technology under its latest long-range research plan.
DHS's Science and Technology Directorate is exploring how to use the Internet of Things to boost community and infrastructure resilience. That's one new research topic in this year's long-range broad agency announcement. DHS is asking the scientific community to offer up proposals ranging from new 5G security techniques to ways of countering drones. Some other new focus areas this year include mitigating threats to commercial aircraft and new methods for detecting explosives hidden in luggage. Justin Doubleday, Federal News Network.
And ransomware became a household term in 2021. A new joint cyber advisory offers some lessons on how to reduce the risk of your data being held hostage. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency says keep
has been continually extended. Doors began to creak open last October, but the emergence of the Omicron variant for them once again.
Frei Beto conoció de los resultados del INIDIP en el uso de medios biológicos para el manejo integral de plagas y enfermedades. Apreció variedades de yuca, plátano, ñame, pepino y calabaza cosechadas en la propia institución. Visitó el laboratorio de biotecnología dedicado al mejoramiento genético de las plantas y supo de los vínculos con el escenario productivo y el trabajo experimental en unas 200 hectáreas de campo. El diálogo con el doctor Sergio Rodríguez Morales, director del INIDIP, guió íntegramente el recorrido y permitió al visitante adentrarse en el caudal de saberes de un centro que ha dirigido su gestión científico innovadora a la soberanía alimentaria y la calidad nutricional de los cubanos.
El futuro tenemos que diseñar. El futuro es la semilla y las variedades. Los insumos son importantes, pero si no tenemos semillas y variedades, el insumo no tiene respaldo productivo.
Al referirse a la comunicación como uno de los pilares del Plan Nacional de Soberanía Alimentaria, Frei Beto insistió en la importancia de multiplicar y socializar los hallazgos de ese gran laboratorio que es el INIDIP.
Lo que lamento es que muchas cosas que conocí aquí esta mañana no se conoce en todo el país. Entonces, de las 4 prioridades del plan C, una de ellas es la comunicación. Y ustedes desde aquí tienen que ayudar a romper este bloqueo interno que impide que la gente conozca toda esta potencialidad que me han presentado hoy.
En la visita al INIDIP, orgullo y emblema de Santo Domingo, el teólogo brasileño estuvo acompañado por el gobernador provincial Alberto López Díaz y otras autoridades del Ministerio de Agricultura. Intercambian especialistas del Instituto Nacional de Investigaciones en Viandas Tropicales, INIDIP, con el intelectual brasileño Frei Beto, asesor de la FAO en Cuba. Desde Villa Clara.
危害网络安全、数据安全、侵害用户个人信息权益等违法违规行为将被纳入联合监管工作事项。平台存在上述违法违规问题拒不改正，将面临暂停联网服务等处罚。蔡团结表示，交通运输部将抽成阳光行动，
督促平台企业向社会公开计价规则，合理设定抽成比例或者会员。
Y aceptar sus dones.
Acompáñenos una vez más mañana. Hasta entonces, recuerden, Yahuwah les ama y en él está segura tu confianza.
总台记者综合报道。
昨天0点到24点，辽宁省葫芦岛市新增确诊病例28例，为绥中县报告，并已转入定点医疗机构治疗。此前，葫芦岛市龙岗区。
We're seeing them start to shine in the east. Yeah, we're seeing them.
Del desastre. Pronto tendrán lugar acontecimientos catastróficos que pondrán fin a esta era y marcarán el comienzo de la siguiente. En su gran misericordia, Yahuwah ha revelado a través de la profecía lo que depara el futuro. Apocalipsis 8 predice una serie de eventos, cada uno peor que el anterior, que devastará la tierra. Se diezmará el...
Conversación que no existe aquí entre vecinos y que sí existe todos los días en Cuba es una vecina o un vecino que le dice al otro, sacaron tal cosa. Esa frase aquí no existe. Nunca tú te vas a encontrar, nunca señores, nunca te vas a encontrar un vecino que te toque la puerta y te diga, sacaron malanga en el mercado de la esquina. No, en el mercado de la esquina siempre hay malanga. Esa conversación de sacaron chancletica de metedeo.
Porque yo estaba pensando en las chancleticas también. ¿Por qué?
Eso no existe, fíjate, señores.
Así mismo.
Siempre hay chancletica de metedeo.
Así mismo.
Pero que cuando tú vas a la tienda, ya tú vas a la tienda a comprar la chancletica de metedeo, porque la chancletica, tú a ti te gusta la chancletica de metedeo. Bueno, está la chancletica, la quieres negra, la quieres azul, la quieres en colorines, la quieres con la bandera americana, la quieres con la bandera, qué sé yo, de Burundi.
Y de todos los precios.
La quieres de tira completa, la quieres de palo, la quieres así, la quieres asado. Pero es que al lado de la chancletica de metedeo, entonces están los espejuelos para la playa, las sombrillitas, el bloqueador al 30, al 50, al 70, al 100% que te proteja los rayos UV, H y JK. Después tienes los espejuelos oscuros, después tienes esto. Eso no lo sacaron, eso siempre está ahí. ¿Por qué? No es sencillo. El gobierno de los Estados Unidos no se mete en que hagan chancleticas de metedeo en ninguna tienda, señores. 52 minutos de la mañana, Deportes con Edemio Navas.
Muchas gracias, y con ustedes nuestra sección deportiva de tempranito y de mañana. Señores, ya hoy martes 15 de febrero, mitad del año, o sea, del mes de febrero. Bueno, señores, hoy martes, un total de 7 partidos en la continuación de la NBA, la Liga Profesional de Baloncesto de aquí de Estados Unidos. Los primeros 3 partidos comenzarán 7:30 de la noche hora de Cuba de hoy martes. Atlanta ante el Cleveland, Dallas frente al equipo Miami Heat, Boston, el equipo Bonito Vendas, que estará jugando contra el Filadelfia. Después a las 8 también la misma cifra de partidos, 3 en total. Milwaukee, el actual campeón del cubano americano Brook López, que estará jugando contra Indiana en su casa. Minnesota frente al Charlotte. Memphis ante New Orleans. Y bueno, el último partido, 10 de la noche hoy martes, Phoenix, el mejor equipo este año en la NBA, contra los Clippers de Los Ángeles. El quinteto de Phoenix, que acumula un total de más de 40 victorias en la actual temporada del baloncesto profesional norteamericano. Phoenix tiene 46-10, por también más de 40 victorias el equipo de los Guerreros de Golden State. Después aparecen entre los primeros Memphis, Utah, que ha caído últimamente, acumula 5 victorias e igual cifra de derrotas, aunque lleva 5 triunfos en forma consecutiva. Después aparecen Dallas, Denver, Minnesota y los Clippers de Los Ángeles en el 8º lugar. Los Lakers, que está ahí cerquita del equipo de los Clippers, los Lakers de Los Ángeles, con récord negativo de 26 triunfos y 31 derrotas. El Miami Heat sigue en primer lugar en la Conferencia del Este este año con 37 y 20, o sea, ha efectuado ya un total de 57 partidos de los 81 de la temporada regular. Le siguen los Toritos de Chicago, Cleveland, el Milwaukee del cubano-americano Brook López, Milwaukee el actual campeón, que está a 2 del Miami Heat, a 2.5 para esa Filadelfia, y después se ubican los quintetos de Boston, Toronto y los Knicks de Brooklyn, que aparecen aún en zona de clasificación en la posición número 8. Por otra parte, quiero señalar en este espacio deportivo de que
Pray about that, brother Jesus. As he came by and said, "Follow me." Oh,
thing too. I want to continue talking about this very profound scripture that is absolutely ignored by most of Christendom today. This is the one that got me in trouble many times because I don't only just read it, but I preach it and then I go ahead and enlarge on. For instance, there are certain men crept in unaware. Is that another one of those things we don't know who they are? Who are these men? The Bible said they crept in all at once. They began to speak as the oracles of God. Don't marvel now. Satan and the Christ Spirit be manifested. Is Satan going to step up and say he is God himself? Boy, that is something, huh? And he's creeping right on in, getting himself in place to do just that. Ordained, prepared, being prepared to be. You may address your correspondence, your letter of support, to me, Brother Stair, S-T-A-I-R, Post Office Box 6.
AC3EWJ. Blue Allen. Hey. Over to N4AOW if you're still there. Good morning, all. And I'm doing a lot better. Still recovering. My system's in shock. WOA Day. Have a good day.
I think N4AOW cleared out on that last one there, Mark. So I'll go ahead and pick it up. And Larry cleared out also, the KDAGJG, and of course Jeff. And I'm going to go ahead and make this one my final here this morning also.
She called that thing a microwave. Stay away from that thing. It makes you, I don't know, microwave does a lot of funny things to your bread. It might make you grow horns or something. I don't know. I don't like them. I mean, here, if I got to I stick something in a toaster before I put it in the microwave. Microwave, in my experience, Dave, is probably one of the best things for rewarming bread or pastries I've ever seen. And if you know the right amount of seconds, it can't be beat. I will tell you this right here. I mean, you have a roll. And you stick that thing in the microwave, you heat that thing up, and it turns I'm just talking 5 seconds or so. It seems like it does something to the texture. I don't know what I don't know what to tell you, because I've never seen that, but I do know what to tell you this. I got to get my sausage canned for you yet. Bird take care of sausage for birds.
Top of the hour, N4 TBM. K04FA. Jim was in earlier and he went for a cup of coffee. I don't know if he went to Baltimore or Washington. It certainly wasn't to his kitchen. He was Starmer at Bucks. He's going to go get him one of them fancy coffees.
일본의 단체는 특정 대성장 문제 조사 결과 많은 분들의 지원을 받아 방송을 보내드리고 있습니다. 수요카제 도둑말 방송에서는 납치 문제를 비롯한 독도선 관련 문제를 보내드리고 납치 피해자 방송 내용은 납치 피해자, 납치 가능성 있는 실종자 여러분들의 이름을 읽고 있습니다. 수요카제는 조선어, 일본어, 중국.
The only manifestation of God ever among man. That whether it was in the garden, in the wilderness, in the fiery furnace, in the lion's den, in the...
You still have a choice. It's called MetaShare. It's a Christian healthcare sharing program. There are more than 400,000 members now, and they love it. In fact, MetaShare...
当局的政策呢，其实持有相当不同的看法，并不总是。
メキシコのロペス・オブラドール大統領と祝電を送り合い、両国の国交樹立50周年を。
Plus, MetaShare is for you. It has saved its members billions by advocating on their behalf. Best of all, the typical savings for a family is around $6,000 a year. So if you think you're stuck with a high-cost health plan that doesn't have much to offer, think again. MetaShare has a 98% customer satisfaction rating, and you are invited to be part of it. Call now. 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
President Trump addresses the European crisis on Fox News and says our leadership has emboldened Russia over Ukraine and soon China over Taiwan.
And they watched the most incompetent withdrawal in the history of probably any army, let alone just us. They saw that, and President Xi and President Putin, watch what happens with China with Taiwan. But they watched that and they said, what's going on? They don't know what they're doing. And all of a sudden, I think they got a lot more ambitious. I think Putin really wanted to negotiate for a period of time. I think when he watched Afghanistan, when he watched that unbelievably bad withdrawal, incompetent, where they took the military out first, where they left $85 billion worth of equipment behind for the Taliban to have and to sell and to use. And, of course, the death that happened. When they watched all of that, I think they got emboldened.
USA Radio News.
The greatest radio shows of all time.
Frank Sinatra as Rocky Fortune.
Classic radio theater.
Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The story of Dr. Kildare.
The Pepsodent Show, starring Bob Hope. The greatest radio shows of all time. Classic radio theater with Wyatt Cox. On this radio station or wherever podcasts are served, just by searching for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau delivers remarks after reports that he planned to invoke rarely used emergency measures, allowing him to tackle protests that have shut down some border crossings and paralyzed downtown Ottawa, Canada.
We're entering the third week of a legal blockade that has been disrupting the lives of too many Canadians. Here in our capital city, families, small businesses have been enduring illegal obstruction of their neighborhoods, occupying streets, harassing people, breaking the law. This is not a peaceful protest. At the borders in different parts of the country, the blockades are harming our economy and endangering public safety. Critical supply chains have been disrupted. This is hurting workers who rely on these jobs to feed their families. Yesterday, the Ambassador Bridge was reopened between Windsor and Detroit. Our team and I have been working with Ontario and the City of Windsor around the clock. I want to thank the officers on the ground, including the RCMP, who played an active role. We now have a responsibility to make sure that the bridge stays open. With each illegal blockade, local law enforcement agencies have been acting to keep the peace within their jurisdiction.
I'm Lance Pride. This is USA Radio News.
Minutes after the hour of 11 a.m. It is Monday, Valentine's Day. That's right. Valentine's Day. 从这学这他说有点反直觉关注的直觉是什么呢？就是这个跟我们感觉跟中国不一样。
アメリカによる資金凍結はアフガニスタン国民から。
允许世事废弃吗？难道神忘记开
双汇冷鲜肉，安全放心，双汇开出。
También la PNR nunca me había citado, siempre había sido directamente con el secretario también, pero sobre lo más
승하고 있는 주목을 차지하며
Титовен, Qatar and North Korea.
Поскольку правительство Китая обещало стремиться к высококачественному развитию. А за прошлый год...
我走不了，对吗？我是比他受伤，这个还是一个主要的原因。单腿呢，咱们说的天高皇城的定价原因，他们到后来一不可能就要更明显。
合作情况，造成农业丰富以及社保辅导门槛可持续经济。这即促成在保障粮食安全、科学、对维的领域的科学经济。
Outside Europe, gentlemen. Place North America, United America, 6 Hotel Bravo, Ontario. United America, 6 Hotel Bravo, Ontario. North America, over. North America, United America, 6 Hotel Bravo, Ontario. United 7 Alpha, Whiskey Tango calling over. Kilo, ahoy, 59.
Good Charlie, over.
Good time to down to PM. I just did a guy yesterday, we made the 5 bands, so that was pretty good. I enjoy that a lot. And potentially we'll get to, I don't know if I have any at 6 bands yet, but we're working on it. Anyway, 2 Echo 0 Hotel Kilo Mike here is Alpha Charlie 1 Echo Victor, back over to you. Lima Charlie Hotel. Good afternoon, my friend. You report 59 report, and my name Igor. Italy, Golf Oscar Radio, Igor. Go 0.
Ontario, North America. Secure North America.
United America 6 Hotel Bravo Ontario, North America. Unifor America 6 Hotel Bravo Ontario. United America 6 Hotel Bravo Ontario, North America. CQ North America, CQ North America, CQ North America, CQ North America, over. Whiskey Delta again. QSL, good morning, also 5 and 9, Oleg Oscar Lima Echo Golf, Oleg Kudesh, North Caucasus, United America 6 Hotel Bravo, Ontario, United America 6 Hotel Bravo, Ontario, over. 3 and good deal, sir, thank you. Okay, good morning, United America 6 Hotel Bravo, Ontario, United America 6 Hotel Bravo, Ontario, United America 6 Hotel Bravo, Ontario. Please QSL direct my collection, please. Spotter, the X-Cluster, QSL, Bob. Okay, good morning, United America 6 Hotel Bravo, Ontario. United America 6 Hotel Bravo, Ontario. United America 6 Hotel Bravo, Ontario. United America 6 Hotel Bravo, Ontario, North America, over. I expected to see a notice on that, but I don't see it. Well, that's surprising because that thing hit the Roanoke, and I thought, okay, yeah, they'll bring it up here in a couple hours and either deliver it or it'll be at the post office. Next thing I knew, it headed east, went over to a town in the east. They got it, sent it right back, and that's the last thing I had. It departed there, and who knows where it is now. So I don't know what's going on. Get it to the country pretty quick, but they seem to dilly-dally around getting it within the country here. So I'm not sure what I'll be doing. I got plenty to do today, though, and I still got to get the sequencing circuitry done. Not too much to report here. GW3, use it as KU4W.
وقتی باشم سوورهای یه چرخ میرم بالا درهای یه جور کش تو پوکر نای میرم بالا تر ویلبرهای غریبه باشه پکر خلقم خودی یا همه منزل منطوری یا اگه بد خلقم سیبیل هم بگو دنده به
Sometimes our churches may suffer, local churches may struggle, a lot of local churches.
بغداد مجله کیف عاصمت اوکراین
شما درباره شما
رادیو ایران اینترنشنال راوی مهمترین خبرهای ایران و جهان
رادیو ایران اینترنشنال
لكن من ناحية أخرى يمكن لمن يريد شراء سيارة
Yaşadığımız travma hangi yaştaysa
我就曾经见过身边有这样的例子。
Contaminants are now down to trace levels. Only the isotope tritium remains, which is routinely discharged from nuclear plants around the world. The government and the Tokyo Electric Power Company say the water will satisfy WHO levels, but Japan's neighbors are still nervous. And that's where the International Atomic Energy Agency steps in.
The work of the task force will also demonstrate that the IAEA review is carried out in an objective, credible, and science-based manner, and help send a message of transparency and confidence to the people in Japan and beyond.
As well as holding technical discussions in Tokyo, the IAEA teams will inspect how the tanks are processing the water.
It's quite important to have reviews by the international organizations like the IAEA with specialized and objective aspects to foster public understanding. Japanese government will at most cooperate with the IAEA review mission.
In March 2011, a massive tsunami caused by an ocean floor earthquake swamped the Fukushima reactor. It was the world's worst nuclear disaster since Chernobyl in 1986. Hundreds of thousands of people were forced to flee their homes, and large amounts of water contaminated with radioactive isotopes were released into the Pacific Ocean. The cleanup operation will take decades. At the site, a single sign marks the water levels breached when the wave was at its peak. If the IAEA approves the plan, the tanks could start flushing back into the sea by spring next year.
That was Andrew Wilson reporting. Members of non-governmental organizations in Japan continue to voice their concern over the government's decision to discharge contaminated water from the Fukushima nuclear plant. Oda Yoshitaka says most of the local residents are opposed to the government's decision.
Mais qui n'est pas forcément très connu à l'échelle internationale, c'est une 同时呢，值得注意的就是它的前100米，它的un rôle absolument décisif pour ce qui est entre guillemets la première formulation du Parti communiste chinois, qui va être ensuite formalisée quelques mois plus tard, donc en 1921.
Between 140 degrees and 270 degrees. Cavo K, temperature 12, viewpoint 0, QNH 1027, low sig. Lodges, Metroport. Lodges, no report received. Repeating, Santa Maria, Metroport. Santa Maria at 1300 Zulu, wind 220 degrees, 5 knots. Wind varying between 180 degrees and 250 degrees. Visibility 10 kilometers or more. Cloud few at 3,000 feet. Temperature 17. Viewpoint 10. QNH 1033. Repeating, Lisbon, Metroport. Lisbon at 1230 Zulu. Wind variable 3 knots. Visibility 10 kilometers or more.
cloud, ceiling broken at 4,400 feet. Temperature 15, dew point 4, QNH 1032. Repeating, Lodges, Metroport, Lodges, no report received. Repeating, Lodges, Metroport, Lodges, no report received. This is Shannon Volmet. Shanwick, Signet number 2, valid until 1600 Zulu. Shanwick FIR, severe turbulence, forecast within 5614 north 02129er west 5700 north 01714 west 5520 north 01714 west 5431 north 02113 west 5258 north 02553 west 5337 north 02639er west 5426 north 02525 west 5614 north 02129er west.
我估计这年木拉哥是拉哥。
Masih percara kuete timba en hupuding hodok wa main hobauga
道路越来拓得越宽。
بعد والسفر وتحتل رومانيا المرتبة الثالثة.
America and the New York. So from one side, unemployment and a very critical economic crisis has been emerging in the country. From other side, the United States, which was one of the biggest countries which was aiding Afghanistan, now is in an opposite position, and they're restricting Afghanistan economy, and that's the decision had really hard reactions in Afghanistan. People complain about the worsening economic crisis in the country, and that was difficult for the people. On the other hand, there was, since Afghanistan has been an egg-relied country, several countries, particularly, let's not forget Chinese aid to Afghanistan, and they've been continuously trying to reach out the people of Afghanistan and assist in such a dire situation. But the people of Afghanistan demand much more, particularly from the United States of America, and also the Taliban have asked President Biden to rethink about its decision of splitting the $7 billion of Afghanistan central bank asset, and that's what makes it really difficult for the people in the country.
There was similarly a bastion in Kabul. The United States has will temporarily relocate its embassy in Ukraine from the capital Kiev to the western city of Lviv. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken says the embassy will remain engaged with the Ukrainian government to coordinate diplomatic engagement in Eastern European country. The U.S. State Department has ordered departure of employees from the embassy and suspended consular services. Washington has been releasing intelligence reporting an imminent Russian invasion of Ukraine, but refused to back it up with details. Moscow has repeatedly denied any intention for doing that and is accusing the Biden administration of hysteria. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has declared a public water emergency to support provinces in ending the ongoing blockade caused by the trucker-led protests. Trudeau says he's invoked the Emergencies Act for the first time in Canada's history to give the federal government extra and temporary powers to handle the issues. He has the move is targeting to those areas in need in the whole country. Trudeau's decision to invoke the Emergencies Act has been met with opposition from the provincial premiers of Alberta, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. You're listening to the Beijing Hour. Coming up, Hong Kong reports a record number of COVID-19 cases.
You're listening to the Beijing Hour. 60 minutes of comprehensive news. Your window on China and the world.
24 minutes past the hour. Hong Kong is battling a severe wave of COVID-19 infections. A record number of daily new cases has been reported. Chen has more.
Hong Kong confirmed a record 2,071 new daily cases. The first time cases have passed the 2,000 mark since the pandemic began. 4,500 preliminary positive cases have also been logged. Officials say the health department's lab has been overwhelmed, leading to backlogs and delays. So instead of waiting for preliminary cases to be confirmed, all of them will now be treated as confirmed cases, and arrangements will then be made for those people to be admitted to healthcare facilities. As for school, face-to-face classes will be further suspended for 2 more weeks, and the placement exam for primary 6 students being allocated into the secondary schools will be canceled. On top of that, a new hotline will be set up to support the thousands of patients who are still waiting to be admitted to healthcare facilities, and designated clinics would also be set up for them. Meanwhile, over the weekend, Chief Secretary John Lee led a delegation of top officials to meet with mainland officials and experts in Shenzhen. The Chief Secretary said the central government has accepted in principle the general direction of Hong Kong's request for help with its 5th wave. The central government will put measures in place to ensure supplies of fresh food, vegetables, and daily necessities to Hong Kong. 5 joint task forces will be set up with the neighboring Guangdong province, and they would focus on boosting Hong Kong's ability to carry out testing and pathological examinations, constructing quarantine facilities, and maintaining a steady supply of medical goods.
That was Anne Chung reporting. The number of COVID-19 patients recovering at home in Japan has topped 500,000 for the first time amid recent waves of infections caused by the Omicron variant. The number of people recuperating at home was up 100,000 compared to a week earlier. Authorities have been asking those with mild symptoms to stay at home, as high pressure on the medical system fuels concerns that hospitals may run out of beds. The occupancy rate of hospital beds for COVID-19 patients was about 50% up to last Wednesday in 20 prefectures across Japan. The country logged over 60,000 new infection cases on Monday, with Tokyo confirming more than 10,000 new infections. The 3 astronauts inside the core module of China's space station are celebrating the Lantern Festival in orbit. Members of the Shenzhou 13 crew have written riddles to extend their best wishes. Commander Zhao Zhidong wrote a couplet which reads, "Like a fluffy cloud rising from beneath." And Ye Hongfu wrote, "Embracing the universe while hovering in the outer space." Zhai said the answers to their riddles will be unveiled at China New Year's Lantern Festival Gala. The billionaire who flew SpaceX last year is going into orbit again. Jared Isaacman says we'll make another private spaceflight along with 3 other passengers. This is the first of 3 planned flights to try out new tech, including those for making spacewalking units. The plan is for the crew to blast off in November and the earliest they will circle Earth for up to 5 days. Isaacman paid an undisclosed amount of money for SpaceX's first space tourism flight last September. He says this time he will share costs with his fellow passengers. Now let's check the weather. Beijing is -9 overnight. It will be mostly sunny and 0 on Wednesday. Chongqing will dip to 10 this evening. Scatter rain and clouds.
现在读奥运记录，你好意思拿冠军吗？我是
11 on Wednesday. Islamabad will dip to 10, then will be sunny and 21 tomorrow.
سیاست، پولیتیکا، اخلاق، کلتور و دنیا قبول کردی artık نرخ ملت کرد هم نرخ کدیرو که دهاتی زمان یعنی پراتیک دا در بازی جیانی بویه پر اسم کشاندیه ملت کردی یک ببه تایبتی هم ببیشن باشوری کردستانی کنکه هم ببیشن پیدکه یعنی همو گریلابه هم ببیشن
北在讲故事的，对，他会讲故事，然后变换。
我感觉这事儿无名的国宝新鲜。
Pe de altă parte, BNR a anunțat că investițiile
үе илтэж танигдахгүй. Хаалдах тоосон эргэлдэн зэрлэхийг үзэхгүй 15-ны өлзий тишний үемээс сэтэв.
Kilohertz, and in Europe 40 UTC on 12.15 kilohertz shortwave. You can also download the phone application MNB Radio and listen to all the programs of the Voice of Mongolia. Your email centers are most welcome with your feedback and detailed reception reports. Please either email them to leom_en@yahoo.com or send them to the English section, The Voice of Mongolia, PO Box 365, Ulaanbaatar 13, Mongolia. Thank you for listening.
Ongoing from that.
Recent research suggests around a third of women who experience a loss in the first 12 weeks of pregnancy go on to develop PTSD. And Zoe says trauma can also be a major issue for many partners too.
Anything that you witness that is really traumatic can cause you PTSD. So the loss of the baby in itself can cause the PTSD, but also witnessing your partner in a life-threatening situation, severe blood loss, where you feel helpless and that you can't do anything because the trauma is unfolding before your eyes. All of that can cause PTSD.
You're listening to the Dad Still Standing podcast, and we're about miscarriage, about stillbirth, about baby loss.
Matt and his friend Liam Preston from the football team recently set up a podcast to try and open up the conversation around pregnancy and baby loss for partners.
C'est l'enquête aujourd'hui de l'heure du crime, la seule émission radio 100% fait divers. Je vous retrouve dans un instant sur RTL.
Terme d'Amélie les Bains, sous le soleil du Roussillon. Nous prenons soin de vos articulations, de votre dos, de vos poumons, de votre santé. Chaîne thermale du soleil, prendre soin de vous, c'est notre métier. BMW. Imaginez une BMW 100% électrique. Imaginez une BMW produite à partir d'énergie 100% renouvelable. Imaginez une BMW recyclable à 95%. N'imaginez plus et venez essayer la citadine électrique BMW i3 dès 195 € par mois. Retrouvez tous les modèles BMW 100% électriques chez votre concessionnaire BMW.
Exemple pour une BMW i3 atelier avec majoration du premier loyer de 4 000 €, bonus écologique de 6 000 € déduit. Offre LLD 36 mois, 30 000 km réservé aux particuliers si accord par BMW Finance. Offre valable jusqu'au 31 mars. Détails sur bmw.fr.
Leclerc. Ah, voilà, ça c'est parfait. Tu parles des 34% en ticket Leclerc sur les pâtes et les sauces le 16 février?
À ton avis, les pâtes, c'est parfait pour mes enfants quand ils sont seuls à midi.
Et parfait pour moi et mes envies de pasta.
Et parfait pour mes soirs de flemme.
Bon alors, on fait...
главным из которых является именно острота,
придаваемая душистым перцем чили. Китайская ассоциация кулинарии назвала чунцин китайской...
连续做出18-0赢，这个而且是完美的落地。在大跳台的比赛当中，它的这种稳定性，其实是起到了非常好的一个效果。因为昨天的比赛，很多选手都做出了18-0的这个难度，和资格赛之前我们看到很多都是做一个这个1440、1620这样的难度不一样。
Espacial sobre producción y servicios, el IEP, que se cobra en la gasolina magna, va a recibir un estímulo fiscal del 100%. ¿Qué significa esto? Pues vamos a preguntarle a Santiago Arroyo, especialista en energía y director también de Ursus Energy. Santiago, ¿cómo estás? Qué gusto saludarte y cuéntanos, pues, ¿qué es esto? ¿Qué significa?
¿Qué tal, Lupita? Sergio, muy buenos días, gracias por la invitación. Pues bueno, esto que anunció la Secretaría de Hacienda y Crédito Público, pues es realmente que están dejando de percibir dinero. El impuesto especial sobre producción y servicios es una contribución que se aplica a los combustibles. En este caso, además de la gasolina y el diésel, también al gas LP se le aplica, entre otros, que son los más significativos, ¿no?, para el consumo doméstico. Sin embargo, estos... Por acá la vendo en las cosas de ropa. Pagando lo que debería, y en todo caso los ingresos petroleros también se están direccionando, gracias a los acuerdos del presidente, se están direccionando a los proyectos insignia de la administración. Entonces tampoco está llegando estos ingresos realmente a donde debería, que es al gasto corriente de la administración pública federal.
Santiago, hay un estímulo fiscal, pero la gasolina sigue muy cara. Ayer todavía la vi casi en 25, la magna. ¿Esto sí tiene un impacto real o no?
Sí, claro que tiene un impacto real, Lupita. Aquí lo que estamos viendo nosotros es la dinámica inflacionaria y deficitaria del país, ¿sí?, en donde el dinero de la gente está valiendo menos, ¿sí? Si la situación económica del país, la situación económica del bolsillo del mexicano promedio, no estuviera en esta dinámica deficitaria, en donde vemos una pérdida abrupta del consumo, una pérdida abrupta del Producto Interno Bruto, es decir, en el valor del dinero de los mexicanos, no estuviéramos sintiendo esto. También hay otra cuestión. El precio real del combustible en estas zonas en donde mencionas que en efecto están cobrando 25 pesos por la gasolina regular, si le aumentamos los 5 pesos que el gobierno está dejando de percibir, vamos a estar viendo gasolinas de 30 pesos, muy lejos a lo que se prometió en campaña por parte del presidente.
10 pesos nos dijeron, ¿no?
Sí, es correcto, así es. Bueno,
¿Cuánto tiempo puede aguantar el gobierno así? Pues finalmente es dinero que debería utilizarse para el gasto público y que se está utilizando para subsidiar la gasolina.
Muy buena pregunta, Sergio. De hecho, aquí esta cuestión es que la situación económica del Poder Ejecutivo es deficitaria. ¿Sí? ¿Esto qué quiere decir?
Sí, Santiago.
¿Sí? ¿Lo perdimos?
Sí.
Sí.
No, aquí estoy.
Santiago,
No,
porque yo vi datos que decían que a partir de ayer y hasta el 18 de febrero, o sea, no son tantos días.
Sí, bueno, es que el acuerdo que emite la Secretaría de Hacienda es semanal, es decir, semana con semana se está generando. Sin embargo, en esta semana el gobierno va a dejar de percibir diariamente estos 300 millones de pesos que estábamos comentando. ¿Sí? Sin embargo, pues la dinámica financiera del gobierno federal, al igual que la del país, ahorita es deficitaria. Estamos viendo que tenemos un crecimiento menor al menos 3% del Producto Interno Bruto, es decir, un crecimiento menor del país. Eso es pérdida también para la hacienda pública. O sea, realmente ahorita la hacienda pública está trabajando en números rojos y eliminando este impuesto al consumo interno, que de por sí ya vimos también datos del INEGI que el consumo interno cayó en el último trimestre. Entonces el gobierno federal realmente está más que ajustándose el cinturón, está pegando, como dicen vulgarmente, están pegando el ombligo al espinazo.
Híjole, o sea, para que no tengamos gasolinas de 30... Ajá, para que no tengamos gasolinas de 30 pesos, le están metiendo este recurso.
Sí, es correcto, y aquí la solución para poder paliar esta situación de aumento de los precios es finalmente creando esta dinámica de importaciones y de competencia, y obviamente haciendo una regulación del mercado energético, en este caso una regulación del mercado de los petrolíferos, más apegado a las necesidades del consumidor y no a la política estatista del presidente.
Muy bien, pues Santiago, gracias por explicarnos qué es lo que está pasando. Muy buenos días.
No, muy buenos días, gracias a ustedes y que tengan lindo día, Sergio Lupita, muchas gracias.
Hasta luego, Santiago. Santiago Arroyo, especialista en energía.
Son las 7:41.
Bajadón de precios Soriana. Lleva el segundo al 50% de descuento en Consomés Nor, todos los moles y todos los purés de tomate.
Dishwasher complete with a third level rack and laundry easier with a Samsung laundry pair with steam technology that eliminates stains.
Threshold to get a waiver, and they had to disenfranchise the client.
One of the things I've been speculating this morning, and feel free to tell me you think it's stupid, which you often will if I'm stupid, is that Boris Johnson, hobbled by Partygate, has unleashed Ben Wallace to such a privilege that things so wrong over there.
Lunes a las 7 de la noche.
Y domingos a las 10 de la mañana y 6 de la tarde.
Estamos ubicados en el 10612 15 Avenida Southwest, Seattle, Washington 98146.
Si desea incluir a sus hijos en la escuela bíblica, contáctenos. Tenemos clases por edades.
La escuela bíblica.
Infections. Eye brands may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms.
That's reminiscent of what Hitler did in 1939, in which he had the German troops dress up as Polish soldiers and, quote, attack, unquote, German positions as a pretext for the invasion of Poland. Like Poland was just chomping at the bit to try and invade Nazi Germany. Who would believe that Ukraine is going to attack Russia? I mean, that's nonsense.
Well, I think there are a number of countries in the world that probably would realize that this was a false flag, but they're not going to criticize Russia for it. I think we have to remember that there are countries like China that supports Russia, but also countries like India. There are a significant number of countries that don't have the same attitude towards Russia as the West does. People do business with Russia, and therefore we have to follow that and go on.
Foreign policy expert Angela Stent, the author of Putin's World, published by 12, and subtitled Russia Against the West and With the Rest.
16 till vaccine mandate, the cause for firings in New York City, and 20 years of Western drought. Those stories and more when America in the Morning returns after these messages.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make $200 to $300 this year.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code CAR for 25 cents a gallon or more cash back on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code CAR to earn 25 cents a gallon or more on your first tank. That's code CAR.
Today on Experts, Mike Elliott from the Safe Corporation at SAIS.com. How are you, Mike?
Frank, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Not bad, for this being wintertime. And we haven't had too much extreme weather yet, but you can't count it out either.
Absolutely not. We still have a few months left, and we can get some good stuff going on, that's for sure.
All right, so what kind of tips do you have for us when we do get hit by the snow, and it might take us by surprise?
It absolutely does at times, but here's some tips I'm going to give you. I got like 10 tips, but I got to play a lot more than that. So let me give you some of these. One is to check our tires, especially during this inclement weather time that we have. Make sure that they have plenty of tread. A trick that I use is taking a penny and I turn it upside down so I can see Lincoln's head and it's facing me, and I'll put that down in the tread. Now the trick is, if you can see all of Lincoln's head, that means your tires are less than 2/32 of an inch of tire remaining on there, some tread. So you need to get those tires, replace them, and put on something a little bit different. So if you can see Lincoln's head, get some new tires. Also, if you're going to be out in this inclement weather, and talking about tires, you need to make sure you have the proper chains if you don't have those studded tires or what have you. And you need to practice putting on those chains beforehand. There's nothing worse than trying to put them on for the first time in the dark in a snow event. I've been there. I don't like it. Also, use gloves and a kneeling pad. It'll help make that event a little bit more pleasant for you. Also, you need to have a flashlight with batteries that work, and you need to check those, because you know how that is too.
Sure, it sits in your car for a couple of years, and wait a second, the batteries are dead?
Yeah, or just gives you enough bright light and then it dies on you. I hate that part. Also is to have an emergency kit in your vehicle at all times. Now, you can vary it depending on what the season is, but we recommend during wintertime that you have blankets or a sleeping bag, flashlight with extra batteries, first aid kit, jumper cables, or some way to jumpstart your car, water and energy bars or some type of food, games, and if you have kids, I'd recommend earplugs. And if you have kids, you know why the earplugs come in handy. Also, you need to replace those worn wiper blades. You need to check those periodically. And, it's interesting, the majority of the weather events are caused by rain. People don't know that. They're more worried about snow and ice.
Plus below, Wyoming Work Warehouse is your go-to store. Be prepared, be safe. Wyoming Work Warehouse, Casper, Gillette, Rock Springs, and online. We're local.
Walk MS brings community.
The average snowfall accumulation should be a lot. We're in that peak part of the season right now when the storms should be coming repeatedly, and we haven't seen that now for, over a month.
Speaking of storms, another one moving in on Wednesday, but there is concern it may weaken and not have a major impact.
The Russian invasion of Ukraine could happen at any time, that according to the White House. NBC's Richard Engel explains.
The U.S. says it has shared this intelligence with the Ukrainian government, but Ukraine's President Zelensky continues to be dismissive, accusing the U.S. of causing panic here, as the U.S. has now shut down its embassy in the capital, Kiev.
White House Deputy Press Person Karine Jean-Pierre said in a briefing it's still unclear what path Russian President Putin will take, but the U.S. is ready for it.
Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin traveling to Europe today for meetings with military and government leaders in Belgium, Poland, and Lithuania. The Pentagon announcing his trip. It's going to focus on the amassing of Russian troops on Ukraine's borders. Austin's first stop is Belgium, where he's going to meet with defense ministers and NATO leaders. Russia's defense ministry announcing earlier today that some troops have been taking part in military exercises and they are being returned to their bases.
Coming up, how concerned are the markets with Russia and Ukraine? We asked a friend of the program, day trader Jay Ratliff, coming up at 6:54. But first, traffic every 10 minutes on KOA with Dave Hunter. How's the rush hour looking?
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's a real debacle here on the north end of town. Now we've got two left lanes blocked and the express lane with this wreck southbound I-25 a little past the 84th Ave. Unfortunately, this is going to be working for a while because, guys, on the front end of this, we have some seriously damaged vehicles. So tow trucks are on their way. Police are working the scene. But again, essentially three left lanes tied up here with backups to 120th. The rest of the drive super quiet by comparison. Also no major off-highway collisions. Now, this report sponsored by Allstate. Are you a safe driver and looking to save money? Well, with DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Go to allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today. I'm Dave Hunter on KOA 850 AM, 94.1 FM.
Another long road trip for the Buffaloes. Hi, this is voice of the Bob Clark Johnson. Tonight, CU plays the first of three on the road at Oregon State. Coverage begins at 6:30 on KOA 850 AM, 94.1 FM, and at iHeartRadio.
These days, we're all thinking just a little bit more about how vulnerable our homes are. Of course, since the recent Marshall fire, it's been on our radar. If you've been thinking about replacing your old worn-out siding, why not do it with Scottish Home Improvement? Yeah, they installed James Hardie siding, which looks like wood, but it's made from fiber cement, so it is just much more durable than what the competition is offering. And it's a really smart investment if you live in the mountains or the foothills because it is fireproof. Why not look into it for your home? It's non-combustible siding. Ask about it at Scottish Home Improvement. That's a bit like added insurance in your home's future, and it looks so good too. Plus, all James Hardie siding comes with a limited 30-year warranty. Here's another reason to go with the guys at Scottish. They've got a no salesman approach, and instead they've got the same project manager working on your home day in, day out from start to finish, and they really do communicate well with you. Plus, they employ only the best siding installers in the industry. With the continuing supply chain delays that we've been talking so much about here on KOA, it's a good idea to plan for that spring or summer siding install now. Go with the best at ScottishHomeImprovements.com. That's ScottishHomeImprovements.com. Please tell them that April sent you.
Divorce comes with many questions. How are assets divided? How is custody determined? The experienced attorneys at Plodstein can assist you with all your divorce case needs. Visit today at PlodsteinLaw.com. That's PLOGSTEIN Law.com.
Bet on more than the final score of one-game parlay at BetMGM. One-game parlay is an exciting feature designed to help you make selections within a single game from over 400 bet types, including team and player props. Log into your BetMGM account and create your best parlay before the game starts. New to BetMGM? Sign up today and take your first bet risk-free up to $1,000 with my bonus code, Benjamin. Plus, you'll earn BetMGM rewards points that can be redeemed for online bonuses or converted into costs for rooms, restaurants, and more at over 20 MGM resorts nationwide. Try BetMGM's one-game parlay today. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Colorado only. This is a new customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards are issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
The new year is well underway, but it's not too late to fulfill a New Year's resolution, like making sure you're doing all you can to move your financial life forward. Call Edelman Financial Engine at 833-PLAN-EFE for a free retirement review and financial plan. We can offer a new perspective on what you're doing now to create the future you want. Consider it a valuable second opinion when it comes to your financial plan. You'll partner with an experienced planner who'll look at your taxes, insurance, and estate planning needs to help build a portfolio based on our strategic approach to investing. Maybe you'd like to validate the decisions you've made or find out if there's anything else you could be doing to build momentum for the future. Call 833-PLAN-EFE by tonight at 10 p.m. to take advantage of this limited time offer. This is an $800 value. Yours free. So call 833-PLAN-EFE or visit EdelmanFinancialEngines.com. It's not too late to make your financial resolutions reality.
You know, I don't have to tell you, we made the free iHeartRadio app for one reason. So you can listen to us and hundreds of stations just like us everywhere you go, along with tons of playlists to fit any mood or activity you might be involved in, from chilling out to working out. Do you love podcasts? Yeah, we do too. And we have hundreds of thousands of them to choose from. Whether you're obsessed with true crime, looking for a laugh, or maybe you're a sports fanatic, find your next podcast binge on the free iHeartRadio app. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
KOA News Time 6:54. Now on Colorado's Morning News. Ouch, last week it was announced that the overall inflation rate is sitting at 7.5%. It's a rate not seen since 1982.
For some perspective, E.T. was the top grossing film in 1982. It's been 40 years since we've seen inflation rates this high. But are they having an impact on the markets, and how will the Fed react to the news? On with us now to talk about it, President of DayTradeFund.com, Jay Ratliff. Whew, that was hard to say this time. Good morning, Jay. Thanks for coming on.
Good morning, and the creative juices continue to overflow there. Good morning.
They sure do. So what would you say about this inflation? 7.5%? It's just nuts.
It is, but you know, the timing of it as it was something that certainly caught investors off guard, but the bigger, louder story was the Russia-Ukraine one. And for a lot of people, that was their entire focus for late last week going into this week, and the worries over inflation and worries over what the Fed may or may not do remained a secondary concern. Now, this morning, pre-market, we're up 400 and some points on the Dow. Why? Because Russia looks like they may be backing off, so there seems to be some easing of some of the tensions there. So the knee-jerk reaction on Wall Street is, okay, we're past that, maybe. We're moving in the right direction. The markets go up. Folks, we've still got that huge issue of inflation and what the Fed may or may not do that's still staring us in the face. But unfortunately, we've got people that are just kind of reading the headlines and allowing that to dictate their anxiety or lack thereof. And right now, you know, at least the good news is the Dow's pointed in the right direction. But look, the turbulence to come is still there.
And when we talk about Russia-Ukraine, simply put for the economics, we're talking about energy, right? Gas, those supplies, that some of it comes from Russia, and that's what hits us directly in the pocketbook.
And that's such a great point, because any time that you have disruptions or concerns over disruption of any of that, it's certainly something that's going to cause investors to react. And they always overreact one way or another. You can count on it. And that's one of the things that for 20-some years I take advantage of, is when you see those overcorrections, it opens up the door for some short-term opportunities. But for investors, you really have to make sure that you stay away from that emotion, because you're going to overreact one way or another, because emotion is what it is, and unfortunately that's how most people trade.
Will the Thursday news impact any future Fed decisions?
It could be. I'll tell you, one of the things that's really striking, April, is last year we were all talking about how the Fed may be looking at maybe 2-3 interest rate hikes this year, and now they're talking about it could be 5, 6, 7 interest rate hikes coming around the pike. And if that's the case, you're talking about the Fed accelerating some of the decision-making process, collapsing these time frames, doing more than what they thought they were going to be doing. And my immediate reaction is, I'm thinking, wait a minute, back in the 70s and 80s, we had a Fed chair who, again, was trying to stay ahead of inflation. They did too much too soon, and it sent us into not 1 but 2 recessions. Now, they were short-lived, but it caused some severe reaction on Wall Street, not once but twice. And that's something that, to me, remains a big concern as we move forward, exactly how this is going to progress. And it's a fine line. And look, Jerome Powell, I'm a fan of. I love the fact that he's as transparent as he is on things they're going to be doing. But if you do too much too soon, there could be some adverse reaction, and that remains my biggest concern right now.
You know, Jay, we've got different factions within the Fed that are kind of contradicting each other on what the full Fed might do. We've got the head of the St. Louis Federal Reserve saying that interest rates should go up by a full point by July. Is that likely, and what would that do to the markets?
Pat, I would consider that very likely at this point because I think they're going to come out of the gates smoking. They're going to be doing a lot to try to help kind of set the tone, if you will. And I would be surprised if it was anything less than that. And I think that we're going to start to hear the Fed chair kind of move in that direction because we're seeing a more and more of a sentiment that, look, it shouldn't be something minor here. Let's take a step up or two with regards to how much we do and how fast we do it. If anything, to kind of stabilize things, because I can tell you a lot of people on the Fed are looking at this inflationary thing that they were dismissing 6 months ago as it's not that bad, to the point now where the anxiety is certainly there. All you have to do from a market standpoint is look at that volatility index that we talk about all the time for the last 10 years or so, and it's the VIX is the code. It's been bouncing up over 30 a couple of times. It's at 26 right now, but it reflects anxiety, investor anxiety over the next 30 days. The Fed's also seeing some anxiety as well amongst the people that advise Mr. Powell and the others as far as what's going to be taking place. And I tell you, it's going to be an interesting next few weeks to be sure.
More of Jay's wisdom you can find at daytradefund.com. Jay Ratliff, thank you, my friend.
My pleasure.
We've got the 7 o'clock newscast just ahead as we check the drive again and get the latest from Dave Hunter.
Hey guys, we have a real mess on the north end of town with this wreck still cleaning, and it's going to be cleaning for a good long time because we have at least 2 vehicles that are in need of a tow truck. They are so severely damaged. Crews right now are sweeping debris off the highway of southbound I-25, a little past 84th. 3 left lanes tied up, so it's 2 left regular lanes and the express lane. Backups just starting to touch 120th now. Elsewhere on all the drive in the Mile High City major highways, not too bad. Just starting to see a lot of commuter traffic now out of Aurora into the tech center. Southbound 225 loaded up pretty heavy from Iliff down to about DTC Tamarack. This report sponsored by Rocket Mortgage. Whether you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance yours, Rocket Mortgage can help you get there. For home loan solutions that fit your life, Rocket can. I'm Dave Hunter on KOA 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
It's Money on the Hour.
Money on the Hour.
KOA has your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Happy. That's happy. Enter it now.
At KOAcolorado.com.
This is KOA 850 AM and 94.1 FM. Colorado's only news, talk, and sports station.
KOA News Time at 7 o'clock. Colorado's Morning News. April Zesbon, Marty Lenz with you on a Tuesday, 15th day of February. Fox 31 pinpoint weather, currently 37 with clouds. We'll hit a high near 60. Beautiful again today. And then a big change coming with snow in the forecast tomorrow.
Speaking of changes, another mask mandate is falling in the metro area. Our top story here on Colorado's Morning News.
The Boulder County Board of Health voted in favor of that move last night. The face covering policy for all indoor settings will expire Friday at 5 p.m. That includes schools and child care facilities. Despite the change, health officials are still strongly encouraging mask wearing. Schools and other facilities will be allowed to make their own policies. Boulder County was the last in the state to have such a mandate in place. Chad Hoffman, KOA News.
Even though COVID cases are declining, many Colorado hospitals are still having capacity issues. Dr. Anuj Mehta explains why.
What we're seeing is the non-COVID patients continue to be extremely sick, sicker than they were even 6 months ago. And I think that's a function of just people, even without COVID, having not gotten the best of routine primary care, so they're coming in much sicker and staying in the hospital for a lot longer.
Dr. Mehta has said that delayed care will have a ripple effect on the industry and will take time to recover. Currently, Colorado's 7-day positivity rate for COVID just under 8%.
Russian officials say they're withdrawing some of their forces deployed near Ukraine amid threats of that invasion. A Defense Ministry spokesman said today that some units are loading onto transports and returning to base. The announcement comes ahead of a planned meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who hopes to avoid a military conflict in the region. But despite the developments, Western nations, including the U.S., are taking precautions.
The U.S. temporarily shutting down its embassy in Kiev and moving diplomats hundreds of miles away to western Ukraine. It's also telling Americans in neighboring Belarus to leave immediately. And overnight, nearly 5,000 American paratroopers at Fort Bragg spending Valentine's Day preparing for deployment to Poland as part of a larger mission to support NATO allies.
That's ABC's Ike Johnson reporting.
As our news continues here on Colorado's Morning News, a bill adding to the the National Historic Site to the National Park System passed the Senate yesterday. During World War II, Japanese Americans were interned in this camp.
One of the camps was marked in the Eastern Plains, on the Eastern Plains of Colorado, where the federal government detained nearly 10,000 Japanese Americans against their will.
Senator Michael Lennox spoke about the measure on the Senate floor. He says the bill will preserve Amachi's story to ensure future generations can learn from this dark chapter in our nation's history. It passed the House last year. Now goes to the president's desk.
We talked with the senator live at 8:24 on KOA. The Colorado House has passed a bill to expand the banning of doxing of healthcare workers and others. Doxing is when somebody shares private info online about an organization or a person, and that leads to harassment, threats, and violence. Last year, a bill was passed banning the doxing of some workers. Joshua Ewing is the vice president of legislative affairs for the Colorado Hospital Association. He tells Fox 31 about the importance of expanding those protections.
Since the start of the pandemic, we've seen increases in online threats, verbal threats, and actual physical violence to our frontline healthcare workers.
The bill would also expand protections to public service officials like animal control and code enforcement officers.
After one more day of warm weather, the snow rolls in tomorrow.
That long duration will once again lead to totals that will go from 2 to 3 inches from the east side of the city into downtown, and then anywhere from 3 to 5 as you leave the city and head west and south. Could be some 6-inch totals in there as well.
That's Fox 31 meteorologist Dave Frazier says like last Friday's storm, snow will start during the day, and the roads should get icy late in the day. That could mean some trouble for your afternoon commute. Reading of the long-running TV show Cops will include a department from the metro area. We get more on this in KOA's checkpoint.
That's right, Marty. The show will soon be producing their latest season with the Adams County Sheriff's Office. Chester Dragon will pull our partners Fox 31. He's looking forward to it.
And maybe we can have cops actually make a positive impact and show the human side of the bat.
Cops was canceled by Paramount Network in 2020 following protests against police brutality in the wake of George Floyd's murder. But the Adams County Sheriff's Office announced that the show, which was restarted in 1989, will now follow members of the Adams County Police Department.
It won't be the cops of 1990s. It'll be more of what was progressed too.
The show will premiere via the streaming network Fox Nation.
You live wherever you move.
How are you feeling about what's really going on?
Kevin, my phone went dead with you just a moment, but I caught the tail end of your comment, and I think the subject is Ukraine and activity there. Is that correct?
It was a heck of a look. I'm on my game today. It was like the best lead up ever, as opposed to usually, hey, you went to the Ukraine. No, you've been there. You've been on the border. You know their military. You've seen these things. What do you believe is really going on there, sir?
Well, I think we talked 1 or 2 weeks ago, and you asked if I felt there was going to be an invasion. I told you yes, I did, and that looked like that was what was going to transpire at that time. I'm a little bit less certain, and I think a number of other members are a little bit less certain now. We are questioning whether or not this is Putin playing some classic games again and trying to get, worldwide attention on the worldwide stage. He continues to posture. He continues to have dialogue with negotiations. He's wanting to make sure that Ukraine doesn't come into NATO, which, believe me, we're not going to. I can't see any possibility of bringing Ukraine to NATO. But this may be one of his strategies to get attention, try to drive home the point, not to take Eastern European countries into the NATO alliance, and also continue to promote their exports of energy sales and use that as a negotiation tool. So, Kevin, the short answer is I don't know, but I'm less confident today there's going to be an invasion than I was 1 to 2 weeks ago.
Right, we just don't know, and we've got the Olympics going on, and there are so many unknowns, Congressman Fulcher. Let's talk about what we do know, and let's look at we've been playing the statements by AOC saying that we should stop the insider trading and all the sorts of things. You're a man of principle. You're a man of character. What do you make of people that go to Congress and all of a sudden they come a lot richer than when they first went there?
I wish it was happening to me. No, I'm kidding, but I've heard the arguments, and I'm certainly not a stranger to insider trading restrictions. In the years at Micron, that was a heavy obligation, and rightfully so, I think. Right now, as a member of Congress, we have to do a special annual filing. It is incredibly detailed. I have to articulate all of the investments I have, all the ownership and any transactions and all that. So the information is out there if you're following the law, and then you're subject to ethics violations if you breach any of that, or investigations if it looked like you're abusing any of your authority. So there's tools in place now, but I'm personally open to looking at other things. I want to be careful as we do this that we're not just playing some Democrat game of gotcha, because that's a classic Democrat move, is they'll try to set members up and set up their families and whatnot so they've got a vehicle to come after you if they don't like what you're doing in some other area. We've seen that with all the Trump supporters happening right now, and you can go down the list of the Jordans, the Meadows, and on down the line, people they want to prosecute because they're on the wrong side of the issue. And so I want to be careful about that, but I'm certainly not opposed to looking at other guidelines, Kevin. And just one last thing on this. I can't tell you the number of people that are good candidates or would be good members of Congress, good legislators, but they have stepping away from this because of living life in a fishbowl. And so that's another reason. I just want to be careful of the gotchas. Got to be honest, got to be open, transparent, but be careful that the laws don't put you in a trap.
Right. We don't want to be in a trap. Congressman Russ Fulcher joining us, Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Let's take a look at just our annual continuing resolutions that should have been day in and day out. Where are we on the budget?
Well, we had a vote on it last week. The Republican position on the House has been no ongoing continuing resolution unless the military spending is restored, because as you know, it has been reduced, and the non-military spending is reduced, and the Hyde Amendment, which is the protections for abortions with taxpayer money. In other words, don't do abortions with taxpayer money, which is a long-standing standard that the Democrats have pulled out, at least so far in this pending resolution. So that is the Republican position right now, and to try to force those things into being. As you know, we're in the minority in the House and the Senate and the White House, and so we have to take those tools to make it happen. But right now, I don't think you'll see a continuing resolution until those components are reinserted back into it, Kevin.
Oh, and that's where the trouble apparently meets the road there, when you've got Nancy Pelosi running things at least until next November.
Yes, then there's where you depend on some of the members in her conference that are in swing districts that are looking at an election coming up in 22. I think we have 30 members of the Democrat Party now that have said they're just not going to run for re-election again, and most of those are in swing districts. But there's still some in other swing districts that are looking at the election and going, you know what, I got to stop doing some of this crazy stuff because that's going to mean my job. And so I don't know that she is as confident in having all the votes for this as she's been in the past with some other votes.
Right, and then we take a look at the administration, Joe Biden getting very touchy and feely about people talking about the economy. Congressman Fulcher, we don't have to tell you that people are hurting, and certainly this hyperinflation, I know that you wish that you could wave a magic wand and return everything to normal, but let's talk about what government can and could, can they do anything about this inflation that seems to be eating away at us?
Yeah, Kevin, it was just a year ago, just a little bit over a year ago, where we didn't have any inflation at all. And if I don't know about you, but I haven't received an 8.3% raise in the last year. And unless you have received an 8.3% raise in the last year, you have an additional tax on your income, because that's how much more you're paying for your groceries, for your gas, than you were a year ago. And so there's a number of things that we can do. We can stop the printing presses and diluting the money supply with artificial dollars, which just makes the dollars out there less powerful. We can allow our own industries, namely energy and others, to go ahead and operate so that we aren't having to go on our hands and knees to countries that hate us to buy our energy. We can go back and have some difficult negotiations with China, like had been transpiring in the previous administration, to put some restrictions on that commerce so that our supply chain opens up again and we have access there on a more fair trade basis. Those are just a few examples of what needs to be done. Most of that is done through the executive operation, the executive branch, and that's where President Biden has made changes, and we're feeling the negative impacts of that.
Well, let's continue on about energy. I mean, you've got oil in the ground in North Dakota and Texas that could be released tomorrow that could help out American consumers today.
Yeah, and we are being told an ongoing lie that it's wind and solar that's the only thing that's clean, when we can't function on wind and solar. And America's carbon footprint has been going down every year since, I think it's 1984, 1985. Our own industry has been cleaning things up, and we're definitely improving, and we've become efficient. And it was just a year and a half ago where America was a net energy exporter. And on day one, when President Biden came in, he started putting restrictions on the American industry for energy production and communicating this propaganda that somehow natural gas or any kind of fossil fuel or even hydro, like we have coming that serves so much of Idaho, is somehow dirty, and we've got to get away from it, and we have to choke ourselves so that the rest of the world has an advantage. And we start shifting only to these so-called green renewable sources, which is our own industries are very green and very renewable. So, and this is a big deal, because your energy expenses, your energy industry has a tremendous impact on all the rest of your economy, and this needs to be right at the very top of the priorities once we start getting control of Congress back to try to reinstate our own independence in that arena.
Congressman Russ Fulcher joining us, Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Back to the energy thing. It's just amazing. The Biden administration just seems so out of touch. And I don't know, did you watch the Super Bowl, or were you working? You're always working.
I saw just snippets of it, Kevin. So I know who won, but that's a bad hit.
Well, but, and Congressman, maybe you and I are dinosaurs, but this whole big push to electric vehicles, we don't have the infrastructure, and the president wants money to put up 5,000 electric service stations across the country. We didn't do that for gas stations. It was created by entrepreneurs and capitalists. We didn't have all this government push, and I'm watching all these commercials for these electric vehicles, and it's not like going to the Maverick or the Stinker store. These vehicles need to be charged. I hear like up to a half an hour, even more. We're talking about really converting something that is working, the internal combustion engine, to this electric stuff that, heck knows, something could happen and you could be stranded in the middle of nowhere, and government seems to be Biden seems to be pushing us towards that. Your thoughts?
Kevin, no question that there's some promising technology coming there, but here's the truth. Right now, today, the electric vehicles are the dirtiest vehicles out. And people say, well, how can that be? Well, it's called this, batteries, and the lead in the batteries. Over the last few decades, America, through the EPA, has shut down the lead production in the United States, including, I believe it was the second to the last lead smelter was in Kellogg, Idaho. And that got shut down in the 80s. And so we don't produce our lead anymore, which is an essential component for batteries. So guess what we do? We buy all of that from China. It has almost no EPA instructions at all. And so they're the heavy polluter. We are dependent upon them for that. And you don't just deal with it once during the production of the battery. You have the cleanup when you dispose of the battery. So if you take a look at the overall footprint for carbon that comes out of electric vehicles throughout the entire process, the manufacturing, the disposal, today they're the dirtiest cars on the road. And I'm not knocking electric vehicles. There's some promising and good technology there. And over the course of time, that can all change. But to somehow tell the citizens of America that, or blame them for trying to shame them for driving a fossil fuel-powered vehicle is absolutely false and inaccurate. And Kevin, that's just another example of this progressive left movement and the propaganda that they put out to try to change this society. We are, right now anyway, we're actually damaging our environment by trying to make this push, and we're to a big, broad swath of electric vehicles. We're damaging our economy because we're asking the taxpayer to put in the infrastructure to do it.
Yeah, that's what I don't really understand. Congressman Fulcher, anything else that we should be looking out for this week?
Well, all of the Durham report information, Kevin, that's it's not shocking to some of us that have been close to it, but President Trump was right. He made statements a long time ago. The campaign was saying on not only his campaign but on presidency. The mainstream media report this, but this is in the late breaking John Durham report, and so they're going to have to deal with that. And later, that news is going to get broadcast on a bigger scale. And frankly, I would not want to be Hillary Clinton. I would not want to be a leadership, because they're eventually they're going to have to answer for this. And they've been to us for years. They tried to use the RRR to take out the Tea Parties and any patriot in the name, and they tried to use federal law to clamp on parents at school board meetings. There are still people in prison as a result of January 6th who won't even get a court date for another year. This is the heavy-handed nature of the leadership we have right now. They need accountability like everybody else. And the latest component of the report, bringing that to light. I just think that needs broadcast, Kevin.
And we'll talk it coming up. And Fulcher, always appreciate your public service. Always appreciate your help. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kevin. Take care.
Take care. Our great friend, Congressman Fulcher. Your thoughts on the investigation, Kevin KIDO
Talk Radio.
It's time to start talking about erectile dysfunction open. The physical effects of ED are evident, but the mental are there too. And it doesn't just impact it can impact marriage and relationships. I know firsthand. My husband and I silently dealt with its destructive impact for several years. It built up embarrassment, tension, and self-esteem issues for both of us. The Upward helped us to understand ED can be medically. They were professional, sensitive, and they us hope. They conducted a thorough medical evaluation of my husband to cover the root cause of his ED. He then through a series of non-invasive device treatment proved his penile health, pelvic floor, and blood flow. Go to upwardreach.com and make an appointment to experience the supportive care that we did. Restoring my sexual and confidence has brought so much that was missing back to our relationship. Thank you, Upward Reach Medicine, for giving us our sexual health back. Visit UpwardRegen.com to make your appointment today. UpwardRegen.com.
Hi, Anthony with the Nest Restoration. Nest Restoration is a local family business serving the Treasure Valley for over 2 decades. Nest specializes in flood damage, fire and water restoration, and mold remediation. When it comes to your insurance claim, you do have a choice. Let us handle it all, start to finish. We're available 24/7, so when you have a mess, call Nest 466-675-959 or visit nestllc.com.
Maybe uncomfortable about ED, but health and hormones. Talk about it day every day. Cheryl NP and the Idaho Health and Hormones have years of experience helping men and women get back to their sexual health. With non-invasive procedures that can stimulate growth and hormones, they listen to your needs and cut the treatment plan just for you. They know you don't want to talk about it. You want things to work. Idaho Health and Hormones, they can help. 200-6686-HARD. That's 200-6686-4273.
AIDO Talk Radio.
If you play TV too loudly, or if in some situations has become difficult, you're needed to participate in a program called the 30-Day Challenge Hearing Connection. I'm Kevin Miller. My friends at Hearing Connect are looking for 100 people with hearing to evaluate a new high-definition hearing instrument called the Signa AACE. This revolutionary device uses first dual processor hearing technology, providing outstanding hearing performance, especially in bad noise. Part in this special event, must call 208-484-3255. Hearing consultations will be performed at no charge for all qualified callers. Participants will try these hearing aids risk-free for 30 days. Hearing Connection now at 208-488-3255 and take the 30-day challenge. That's 208-488-3255. 208-488-3255.
What do you want to accomplish this year? Hey, it's Lars for the good store. Do you want to be more active, perform better, spend more quality time with family and friends? No matter what your goals, Good Feet can help. Good premium arch supports help your feet toward their ideal position. They should provide a strong foundation for your entire body, so you can feel your best all day and all year long. And when you feel your best, you can be sure you're putting best foot forward, both at work and at home. Now you enjoy more hikes with long walks with your dogs, and more fun with your family. And this is the year to start feeling best and more of what you love with the people you love. Take the first step, scheduling your free in or virtual personal fitting today, and tell them Lars sent you.
You'll find your Good Feet store in Meridian Village at Meridian. Call 1-800-NEW or visit goodfeetnw.com.
Call Kevin Miller now. 580-5536. That's 580-KKDO.
Blessed to be with you, Kevin Miller in the morning. KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers KIDO. We will talk about the report, although no one is covering it. Pretty wild. No one is in the Durham report. Again, where you have Hillary Clinton and her campaign spying on Donald Trump. Well, when you have the Attorney General, you have Joe Biden, and you break the law, does it really matter? Broke the law and no one enforce it?
Now Sussman's team says Durham is tainting the jury pool by releasing this information ahead of his trial. They've got a brand new court filing that says this special counsel has again made a thing in this case that unnecessarily includes prejudicial and false allegations irrelevant to his motion and to the charged defense and are plainly intending to politicize this case in media coverage and taint the jury pool. Was indicted by a grand jury in September for allegedly making false statements. FBI claiming he was not taking information about the Trump-Russia cases on behalf of a client.
Let's go to Doug in Mountain Home with Clark. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Not bad, but it's you.
Yeah, I'm fine. I like hearing votes. We need more of them like that, but whether we get them or not, I don't know. They're rhinos.
Yep.
State, federal, the freaking thing. The thing with Durham, I heard about it last Thursday. And whether anything comes about the going to be another story, just looking at what the news media is saying. But I think when this does crash money-wise, and I can't see it doing nothing but that, people are going to want accountability And I think their accountability is going to be some real anger. And then, well, I tell you what, I don't think their lives are going to be worth, Kevin.
When you're talking whose lives going to be worth much?
That?
Whose are not going to be worth much?
Them people been lying to us.
Well, may have to go.
Well, yeah, just like saying, all I do is look into history. History repeats itself, and them I'm telling you what, they don't survive when they're caught and they're lying and their freaking teeth on this. They've been killing. Nah, their lives ain't worth them dirty batters are coming out of China. I'm telling you. So, and I'm not gonna say no names, but I remember somebody calling right after that announced the stole illegitimate election to Biden, just gloat, just heat on you and the rest about. I told you. Well, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, the curtains are getting pulled up you liberals, and a lot of them are around. And hopefully the rest doesn't do. And hopefully one of them, you know who I'm talking about, is over there in Arizona. Take a visit. They open their eyes up, and their hearts especially. That's what the Lord towards their hearts, Kevin. So I got Nash Simpson's seat coming up in November.
It is.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear it. Did you say it was?
Yes, it is. Comes right.
Is anybody running against him?
A gentleman by the name of Ian Smith, who ran against him several years ago.
Democrat side? Is he trying to get on the Republican?
He's a conservative Republican.
Oh, I hope he gets it. People, did you hear? Because Simpson ain't worth one vote, period. So all right, I said enough. So keep up good work, and God bless everybody that's got a pain. So
God bless you, Doug. Thank you for the call. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. Radio traffic now. As you're coming into County to Ada County Freeway, looking. It is busy. Typical slowdown. In the typical spots. Karcher has no traffic. Priority running. Close your approach way as well. In the connector, problems. No major accidents working. As your ring springs, the ring doctors are experts in click ring technology. You can make your ring fit like it should. Ring doctors inside the Lee Reed Diamond Dream store just off the Meridian off I-84. Treasure Valley 4 west from the IDO Weather Center. Going to be looking at clouds, a bit sunshine high today, reaching to the mid-40s. That's traffic now. Dave Burnett on KIDO Talk Radio.
Thank you, Dave. We will hear from Hank, Al, and you. Don't forget. Fox News, brought to you by our great friend Beacon Plumbing. And don't forget our website. A lot of stories on our website when we're looking at stories of news and inspiration. How Hammer Bronco became a Super Bowl champion. In addition to that, we've got, the spam is hit hard here on our own web. We didn't even preview it. Meridian Police arresting a 16-year-old student of harm to others, and how you can meet Dr. Cole and Malone in Boise coming up this week. Lots of news, those stories and more on my website, KIDO Talk Radio. Remember, Fox News to you by our friends at Beacon Plumbing.
Fox News. Chris Foster. Rush Defense Ministry says it's pulling some troops back from the Ukraine border. Trey Yinks.
Many of these troops in conducting military exercises, and the Ministry of Defense in Moscow actually released some video showing tanks leaving their frontline missions, but that and the exact location of those troops hasn't yet been verified.
And NATO Secretary says they've seen no sign of de-escalation around. Izar's U.S. dropping former President Trump and Trump organization as an client.
The accounting firm that prepared 10 years former President
President Trump's financial statements has enforced the Trump Organization. Those statements should no longer be relied upon. The New York Attorney General claims and his company regularly misstated the value of property to get loans and benefits.
Fox's Cox Roberts. Wholesale inflation was up 9.7% less from a year earlier in the Labor Department. America's listening to Fox.
Sean.
If the Republican Party wants a future, it's got to be the agenda I've been articulating every day, and I'm repeating it on so don't say you repeat yourself.
Weekday to 6.
Because this is the antidote to the power grab and the new Green Deal socialist insanity that is going to destroy the country. Socialism always results in the same exact fail.
KIDO Talk Radio, 75 FFF 580 AM.
Remember the old days when life would slow down? Well, life never seems to slow down in the world of real estate. That's why I'm saying, recommending to you, call the agents that I trust to my home, and Jeremiah of City of Trees Real Estate, Keller Realty, Boise. They can take care of you when it comes to service selection, opportunity, and especially during this slow time here to sell, buy your home. 202-991-2773. If you're a seller who has been wooed by the flat fee companies, let me they were disappointed. Nothing was happening. After hearing Brent Jeremiah's high exposure strategy, he fired their flat fee agent. Brent sold their home in just days. He's even netted more money. Sometimes these offers aren't what they seem, but with Jeremiah, they're low. They America, and they love taking care of you. Call them today. Trees Real Estate, cityoftreesrealestate.com. Jeremiah, 208-991-2773.
KIDO Talk Radio.
Ma'am, the collateral in your furnace or and your thermal capacity is way out of.
Is that
your equipment is in gas protects into everything. Those little devils start eating stuff, furniture, curtains, walls. Do you have pets, children?
Yes, both.
Rating of 700 ppd can cause major health problems. Section Article 42B of the government HVAC Station Act says a furnace above 300 ppd must be replaced immediately.
How much are you talking about?
$40,000.
$40,000.
And just for you, I'll throw in a free air conditioner.
I don't know.
Look, we have to get this fixed. Sign here.
When it comes to keeping family comfortable, call someone you can trust. Hi, this is Lee, Ultimate Heating and Air. A factory authorized Bryant dealer, and we've been servicing and installing furnaces in the valley for years. Whether it's service or repair, or a second opinion, call 321-8663 or visit us online ultimateheatingandair.com.
KIDO Talk Radio.
You've been dreaming of your perfect patio, but not even sure to start. Start with Darby Reynolds and his sons at RB Construction, who guide you every step of the way, from the design process to the finished product. RBC leaves you happy with a patio cover that blends right into your house.
The reason people are investing in patio covers today is it adds value to their home as well as to their lifestyle. They're able to add some outdoor living space that they can enjoy with their family and friends. On top of that, it brings the value of their home up. Our patio covers can be a tremendous value to your house because it's something that as we build with the same materials that your house is made of, we sided it, close it, roof it. It looks as though it was built with the house and becomes an addition that really adds value as well as, again, it adds value to your lifestyle.
Visit rbcidaho.com now to get inspired and to find out how you can achieve your dream patio for less than you think. With RB Construction, you imagine it, they build it. Visit rbcidaho.com to get started.
Hey, it's Kevin Miller, and I got to tell you, I am just tired of being in pain. And if you're like me and you're suffering from chronic joint pain, don't assume that you're going to get the steroids, the pills, the surgery. Those aren't the only options. Let me tell you about my great friends at QC Kinetics. They're local right here in the Treasure Valley. They're medical professionals. Call them now, 208-425-2747. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in using biological therapies to repair damaged tissue in your aching joints. And I got to tell you something, as the older I get, the more my joints ache. I am going to QC Kinetics, and thankfully, they are taking care of me. Not with the steroids, not with anything else, but with my own natural biological agents. They can explain it to you. You don't have any downtime. You're not in with Dr. Zhivago. You're in with medical professionals that give you that highly successful approach to get back rolling naturally. Call them today, QC Kinetics, 205-425-2747. Please tell them Kevin Miller sent you. Thank you for joining us, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio, traffic and weather together. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. KIDO Talk Radio. Traffic now as you're coming out of Candy County into Ada County. Very busy on the freeway on down past the county line into the Meridian Road area. Do have a reported accident near Deer Flat and Meridian Road, so watch for that. Could be delayed in that area just a bit, but all in all, pretty good commute underway. Does your ring spin? The Ring Doctors are experts in click ring technology. They can make your ring fit like it should. The Ring Doctors inside the Lee Reed Diamond Dream Store just off the Meridian exit off I-84. Your Treasure Valley forecast from the KIDO Weather Center. Going to be looking at a few clouds, a bit of sunshine, highs in the mid-40s. That's your traffic. Now, I'm Dave Burnett on KIDO Talk Radio.
Sean Hannity this afternoon. Kevin Miller now. KIDO Talk Radio.
So here we have the Durham investigation. What happens if it's right and nobody cares? Is that what we're facing? Let's go to the phones. Hank, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning. For one thing that should be remembered about this whole scheme was concocted basically to draw attention away from Hillary's own crimes and her violations of the Espionage Act with improper setting up of her server when she was working as Secretary of State, and the fact that she violated the Espionage Act. And this was a distraction to take the attention away from that to basically framing Trump. And she should face criminal charges for what she did in this. I mean, and in addition, this woman is a criminal. She's vile. And not only that, I think she still hasn't given up her ambitions to become president. God help us. And I think that she was preparing to make moves in that direction, given the Biden's apparent collapsing administration. I don't think Biden's going to last 4 years as president of the United States. I think the wheels are coming off already on this administration, and I think she's preparing in the wings to take over as the Democrat nominee in 2024. She needs to be convicted for what she did in this, and the waste of materials, and also and of course it's a shame that the people who collaborated with her, both in the intelligence and in the FBI, they need to be prosecuted too. But I don't know if we're ever going to see that. Durham had I think, unless he's removed by the Biden administration, which could be a possibility. If the grand jury came up with this decision, he needs to prosecute this woman. She's like I said, she's a criminal, and a grifter. A grifter would. Well, look, we know a lot of grifters. The problem with grifters is they have high connections, and Joe Biden's not going to let Hillary Clinton go to jail or be prosecuted. Yeah, and that's what I'm afraid of. What's going to happen, she's a person you just want to spit in her face. I mean, she's so contemptible. Well, she might be running for president again. That's what I'm afraid of, and I think that's the setup on it. And I think that and of course I think that what will happen is that the Biden administration will do what they can to basically stop any further movement on this. I think the next step that they're doing is this business with the tax returns and basically scaring off Trump's accounting firm. I think that what's gone on in New York State is again, I think is criminal with this prosecutor and the improper behavior of this prosecutor in New York. I think this modern Democrat Party is beyond contempt. They're just plain dirty people. Well, you're right, Hank. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Al in Ontario. Al, sorry we didn't get to you last hour. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yes, Congressman Folger is an impressive man because he has the ability to hone in on the things that really matter. Okay, he hits the nail right on the head. money is an expression of energy, really. We live in an energy economy. We don't live in a digital economy. People don't understand this. But, it's the energy that really counts in our pocketbook, okay? And so the more we can produce that energy, the more we can engage in that type of energy exploration, the better off we're going to be. But one of the things is that we have to understand, and Congressman Fulcher touched on this, is the delusion of the money that's in the economy. And basically this printing of money, okay, is nothing more than redistribution of wealth, okay? It's part of the leftist there's so many of their little devious machinations, but it's the biggest devious machination there is. And what happens is when you print this money, you are in essence taking money out of people's pocket and giving it to everybody else. Okay, that's redistribution of wealth. Okay, and so that's the little tool that our leftist politicians use in order to try and destroy our nation, and they're doing it little by little. I'm not surprised with the school district, running the ads on the TV, because look, failed government always cheerlead. Okay, they're not competitive. Okay, they all government agencies, they're big cheerleaders. They constantly cheerlead. And, I don't want to hear your words. I want to see your actions. I want to see your actions. When I see a Marine commercial and, this big guy in this, knife in his teeth and everything, I say, I want to see hypersonic missiles in that Marine detachment. Okay? I want to see weaponry where... I heard yesterday in your show, hey, the kid decided not to join the Marines. I don't blame him. I wouldn't join the military today. And let me tell you something.
Wait a minute. This traveling the roads.
That's true.
Why
just at Baton Rouge.
And
I was just at Baton Rouge and I saw a stray dog.
Well, I appreciate that. Now, you are a veteran. We thank you for your service. Why would you not join the military today?
Decades. I'm a retiree. I'm a military retiree officer.
Yeah, hold on. This is what we love about the military. You're correcting my compliment. So why would you not join your beloved military today?
Because, look, it's not listen, let me tell you something. I would not do any... My military career was the most fascinating. It was the greatest thing. I got to do so many things. I loved it. I could never ask for a greater career. Okay? I just loved it. But today, we're being run by people who are losers, who are turning our military into a sea.
Now, wait a minute. You've got General Milley. He's doing a good job.
Well, look, I'll tell you, Kevin,
that was a joke, Al. That was a joke.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But, what the thing that I think that the citizenry need to look at is our weapons appropriations. We need to make sure that we get weapons that can counter China. Okay, we have to have weapons that can counter their massive ballistic missiles and hypersonic missiles. Okay, and that's what I want to see. I want to see those actions. I don't want to see all this talk. I don't want to see cheerleading. Okay, I want to see where we have the ability to outrange, their missiles. Air-to-air missiles, the PL-15, the PL-21 of the Chinese. These air-to-air missiles outrange ours by huge amounts. Now, maybe they're not as accurate, but Stalin had a great phrase. Okay, and Stalin said that there's a lot of quality in quantity, right? Okay, there's a certain quality in quantity. So you have these massive amounts of missiles. Okay, these things they're going to barrage us. Kevin, I could go over. I'm a military historian. I could go over 100 battles with you and wars that were lost because people were hit with weapons and they could not respond in kind. So, we definitely need to look at our military, make it stronger. We need a weapons complement that will destroy the enemy, and we don't have that today. Okay?
You're right.
Congressman Fulcher.
Al, safe travels. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, be careful on the road. Ron Grant joins us now. What's going on Saturday, big boy?
Good morning, young man. Well, education. We're going to help people keep that money 100% safe where they can't lose their principals, they can't lose any gains that they've already earned, and we're going to educate them on how to have a guaranteed lifetime income that they can't outlive. The 401ks and 403bs, etc., were never, ever meant to provide income. And so we want to educate you on how we can help you with that. We also are going to talk to Mr. Will Hart. He's our gold, silver, and platinum specialist. And we're talking about the physical metals, not the paper stuff that you can lose money in. I know you're going to try to stump me with a rock and roll song. And then we've got good education and knowledge. And we have call-ins. We're the live financial show, so people can call in and ask their questions.
There's a lot of turbulence going on, isn't there?
A lot of turbulence, buddy. The waves are still moving and shaking. So we want to make sure people, Kevin, this is the purpose for the show. I'm almost 13 years on talk radio now, educating people. We want to make sure that they know that there's a better way to keep their money and protect their dignity money that they worked hard for. So that's why we do the show, and hopefully you're getting better soon. You sound pretty good today.
Well, I'm here at the broadcast center. We're taking it day by day, young man.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you in person on Saturday, back in the captain's chair.
Well, aye, Captain, my captain. If people want to get a hold of you, Ron, during the week, not just during the show, what can they do, sir?
I have a great educational website, safermoneyspecialist.com. And then phone number is 208-660-1372.
Ron Grant, appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate you, buddy, for all you do. Talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. All right, coming up next, Eric from CUNA and the captain, Captain Harry. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
KIDO Talk Radio.
Exergen would like you to know about an important study just released by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has known all along. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate. The study also reports that they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. We can't afford to tolerate the rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Are you looking to kickstart your health and fitness journey for 2022? We have a little secret for you that can help you get started. Hi, I'm Bree with Silk Touch Cosmetic Surgery Center in Med Spa. Exercise and a healthy diet can do wonders for the body, but sometimes certain areas of stubborn fat are hard to get rid of. For those people who are experiencing this, liposuction may be the solution. Liposuction is a cosmetic procedure that removes the excess fat that dieting and exercise can't take off. This procedure can be done on several areas of the body, and results are almost immediate. Silk Touch is Idaho's leading body sculpting center, and with Dr. Brian Kerr and Dr. Jason Neely's advanced surgical skills and expansive cosmetic training, you can feel confident knowing that you're in the hands of experts. Silk Touch has helped thousands of patients reach their body goals from head to toe. So come visit us for a consultation or call us at 208-939-3110, 208-939-3110. To see before and after pictures of happy clients, visit silktouchmedspa.com.
Life is beautiful. Life is grand. Let's stay healthy. Here's the plan. Vaccine time is here. There's so much living to do. Let's protect our families. It's free, easy too. Go to vaccines.gov. Find flu and COVID vaccines with a click. The peace of mind is priceless. We don't want anyone sick. So remember, life is glorious. Life is wow, but not when you're ill. So protect yourself now. A message from the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare.
KIDO Talk Radio.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Boise Medical Clinic. What I love most about my job is hearing the success stories of our patients. Erectile dysfunction has a serious impact on the relationship. But after men have taken our treatments and seen their ED disappear, it's like they are a totally new person. Boise Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave technology. Even Cambridge University showed our treatments to be highly effective at treating ED. If you're ready to put a stop to your erectile dysfunction by treating the root cause of the problem, call us now, and not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique, that produces powerful results in the bedroom. You're going to love that. This is normally $500, but it's totally free to those that call now. 208-202-5000. That's 208-202-5000. Guys, let's get that spark back in the bedroom. Call Boise Medical Clinic right now to qualify. 208-202-5000.
I'm Darren College, and I'm excited to invite you to Boise's newest prominent location, the James. In this speakeasy-style lounge, you can enjoy rare whiskey, craft cocktails, and fine food on the rooftop in downtown Boise, off-Broadway next to Starbucks. As an owner of multiple businesses, I'm constantly seeing ads for newer concepts, lower rates, and speculative service. Danny, with Heartland Payments, has earned our business by showing us a different way of doing things.
Thank you, Darren. I'm Danny Gutierrez, Idaho Territory Manager at Heartland Payments. At Heartland, you're more than just another business. You're a partner. Imagine a world where your merchant service provider was embedded in your success, providing a consultative approach when it comes to your business solutions needs. Whether it's payroll, analytics, payments, or e-commerce, we've got you covered. We believe in our Merchant Bill of Rights, transparent pricing, and our first-in-class technology solutions. But here's the thing. You don't have to be a Super Bowl champion to get Super Bowl service. Call me, Danny, at 208-985-4858, or visit heartlandidaho.net. That's heartlandidaho.net. And hey, maybe let's meet at the James.
This is Kevin Miller reminding you to listen every Saturday from 11 to noon for the Ron Grant Safer Money Solution Show only on KIDO Talk Radio.
Kevin Miller now. Sean Hannity this afternoon. KIDO Talk Radio.
Eric in Cuna, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, good morning. Really loving the show today. Really awesome callers.
Thank you.
I just wanted to respond one thing to what I love Doug in Mountain Home too. He's no nonsense guy, man. I like what he has to say all the time, and he's right about. I think Crapo, Simpson, and Rich, they should hang it up and give some other people a chance. I mean, unfortunately, we don't have term limits in place, so these political people are entrenched. And they're entrenched for so long. Look at Nancy Pelosi, multi-millionaire. I mean, even that kooky chick, what's her name? Corcatelio, or whatever her name is.
Corcatelio, I believe. Right.
Yeah, Corcatelio, I think. And then Hillary Clinton. This is the thing about this right now that's going on. They're doing this investigation now. Like, why didn't they push something like that through when Donald Trump was president? I don't get that. I mean, like you said, what's it going to do? Are people going to care? Are these just posturing moves? Because looking back at the Clintons, there is I don't know if a lot of people have paid attention to headlines over the last 20 years, there's a trail of bodies connected to them. And suicides, a whole bunch of their friends have committed suicide. And seemingly it always seems to happen when they're about to come forward with some information or something. But there is a trail of bodies that follows Hillary Clinton. Let's not just investigate. Yeah, of course we know she spied on Donald Trump, and that goes all the way to the top. The whole administration was corrupt. Obama, they were all spying on Donald Trump. They screwed him over, and they used the FBI. This is why no justice ever happens. Is because these political creatures have been entrenched for so long, they put all their people into our institutions, into the FBI, into any kind of investigating bodies that can, bring down their garbage. They've entrenched them for years. And so when some kind of investigation goes forward, there's so many people entrenched that they put in, they just drag their feet, shuffle papers, put them into a desk drawer, forget about it. Nothing ever really happened. And I think if enough people, kind of like these Canadian truckers, stand up and hold these people accountable, stuff will happen. And I got to say, on another note, it's really sad that silly, goofy Justin Trudeau actually said, yeah, we can freeze your bank accounts and take your license, so you better just go home. I mean, that's pretty bad. That's pretty low.
I would agree.
But I'd say on the Hillary Clinton thing, I mean, it's great they're coming out with it, but we all kind of knew about it. We all heard about it anyway. I mean, it's been known information. All this stuff. We're going to have an investigation about this specific thing now. And it's kind of like, how many investigations and committees of committee have we had to get some justice, and nothing ever happened? There's just a bunch of people dragging their feet, shuffling papers, putting them in drawers, and forgetting about it, and nothing's ever done. I think the problem is these entrenched politicians. We need term limits. We need all of these goofballs gone, including the ones right on our own, including I'm saying that out of the 4, the 3 need to go. Fulcher, he hasn't been there very long. He deserves another term. But I think they should all have term limits, just like the president. We don't need a Nancy Pelosi multi-millionaire entrenched and 81 years old and going for it again. Yeah, I gotta leave my grandkids millions and millions of dollars, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go for another term. We know they're all corrupt, and they need to go. We need term limits, really.
I agree, Eric. Thank you for the call, and thank you for the compliments. Let's get to the captain. Good morning, Captain Harry.
Top of the morning, Kevin. Top of the morning. Yeah, Hillary, holy Hawkeye, man. I tell you what, she is living proof that all conspiracies eventually become true. And if it wasn't for her, I probably never could have become a deplorable that I am today. She's the one that gave us that fine title. And Joe Biden, he's graduated me up to domestic terrorist, because anybody that talks anything against him or the vaccine or the virus or anything, well, you're now a domestic terrorist. Boy, my pappy said you always want to shoot high and be the best at whatever you can be. I hope he's proud. That's just the way it is, And I just want to end it with my other superhero, the Pillow Man. He's still going strong and raising hell in the Democrats. Wisconsin and Arizona are both just about ready to fall to decertification. So let's just keep on rolling, and then truckers are my hero. Come on, trucking. Keep on trucking, baby. And life goes on, and keep shooting for the moon, Kevin. We're stirring up the dust here. I'll be standing by.
Thank you, Captain Harry. Fox News brought to you by our friends at Beacon Plumbing. Stay with us.
A Town Square media station. 580 AM, KIDO Nampa, K298CN Boise, 107.5 FM. This is KIDO Talk Radio, Fox News Now.
Russia's ready for discussion, not invasion. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News leader Vladimir Putin just said he wants confidence-building talks with U.S. and NATO as Russia supposedly pulls back some troops from the Ukraine border. Fox's Simon Owen following it all live.
Dave, Russia's defense ministry says some troops deployed near Ukraine are returning to their bases. It says a number of units have completed exercises and are withdrawing as planned. There's a skeptical reaction among Western officials.
So far, we have not seen any de-escalation on the ground.
NATO's Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg says the alliance is watching closely. He welcomed an apparent hint from President Putin about pursuing further diplomacy.
That gives some reason for cautious optimism.
But Stoltenberg insisted the crisis remains a long way from being resolved. Dave?
Simon, Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva, controversially allowed to still compete in Beijing despite a pre-Olympic failed drug test, is the leader after the short program going into Thursday's round. Valieva helped Russia win a team figure skating event, but there won't be any medal ceremony for that or if she wins this individual Olympic competition. We just got another inflation update. Fox's Jenny Casola has it.
There's a report telling us why you're paying more for things. Businesses are paying more, too. Prices at the wholesale level jumped again last month. The producer price index rose a full 1% in January.
That's the month-over-month increase compared to a year ago, even almost 10% more than consumer prices even. On Wall Street, stocks are surging. The Dow's up about 300 points. Now to the Canadian capital, Ottawa. That's the truckers' response to Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister, invoking an Emergencies Act to drive out the truckers and financially punish some of them for what he calls an illegal blockade in Ottawa and at border crossings as they protest COVID mandates. America's listening to Fox News.
That dinner was delicious.
What's next?
I'm thinking just a check.
Do you frequently have gas, bloating, diarrhea, stomach pain, or loose oily stools after eating? One or more of these symptoms could be a sign of exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, and it may be time to talk to your doctor.
If you have EPI, Creon may be right for you. Creon, pancrelipase, is an oral prescription medication that treats EPI. Creon replaces enzymes you may be missing to help you break down food properly.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosis colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Do not chew capsules or contents as this may cause mouth irritation. Tell your doctor if you have unusual or severe stomach pain, bloating, trouble passing stool, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, worsening of painful swollen joints, or allergic reactions. Other side effects may include changes in blood sugars, gas, dizziness, or sore throat and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Talk to your doctor about Creon, the #1 prescribed EPI treatment, and visit gocreon.com. That's GOCREON.com. Or call 1-800-633-9110.
KIDO Talk Radio, traffic and weather together with Kevin Miller in the morning. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. KIDO Talk Radio. Traffic now. Bright sunshine on that windshield for anyone traveling eastbound, whether you're on the freeway, Chenna Boulevard, Highway 44. It's a slow and go commute. Once you get down to the Meridian Road area, right around Locust Grove, that right-hand lane slowing down. No major accidents to get in the way. Finishing cleanup of one on Deer Flat Road near Meridian. Does your ring spin? The Ring Doctors are experts in click ring technology. They can make your ring fit like it should. The Ring Doctors inside Lee Reed's Diamond Dream Store, just off the Meridian exit off I-84. Your Treasure Valley forecast from the KIDO Weather Center. Looking for some sunshine, a few clouds moving in, high temperature in the mid-40s. That's your traffic now. I'm Dave Burnett on KIDO Talk Radio.
KIDO Talk Radio presents.
Thank God, Kevin, we got your show here in Boise to actually talk about the real issues that are going on.
Every morning, your community voice, Kevin Miller.
They won't get into the Kevin Miller's arena of ideas and ride the Kevin Miller bull.
On KIDO Talk Radio. 107.5 FM and 580 AM.
Blessed to be with you, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Let's go to Keith Skipper joining us from the RNC, the West Coast, kind of like the West Coast Avengers, the West Coast RNC. Always good to have somebody on from our side of the aisle and our side of the country. Keith, thank you for joining us here in Idaho.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
You know, too many people east of the Great River, so I'm glad that they made you available for us today. First off, we take a look at our region of the country. What is the state of the Republican Party, just regionally here, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, within your jurisdiction, sir?
Sure. I mean, I think I cannot be more excited to be a West Coast Republican right now. If you want to look at, you have great, solid red states such as Montana and Idaho that are leading the way and showing, what can be done when it comes to fixing this economy and fixing and getting people back to work. But then you look at all the opportunities around. I'm based in Las Vegas. We are in a prime position to pick up a U.S. Senate seat, possibly all 3 Democrat-held congressional seats and the governor's mansion. The state of Washington, where I went to college and lived for a very long time, graduated high school, I believe that we are going to pick up at least 1 congressional. We have a possibility of retiring Patty Murray. We have a possibility of picking up governor's seats in Oregon as well. So it's a very, with Republicans kind of showing that we offer a vision for the future of this country and the future of this part of the country that is vastly different than what we're seeing from Democrats, which are just failing up and down, from President Biden down to our governors, down to our mayors. We are in a great position to have some great victories in November. And I couldn't be any more excited to get out there and hit the road and make sure that we elect Republicans from top down to the bottom of the ballot here in the West Coast.
Let's talk a little bit about the disaster that is the Biden administration. What, if anything, can we do about it right now?
Well, we just need to make sure that we're talking. You look at that we have the worst consumer inflation in 40 years. That's something that we need to be sharing with all our friends. And if you really look at, specifically the mountain region of the country, this is according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, The mountain region actually includes Idaho. It's even higher. It has the highest inflation in the entire country. We need to be sharing this kind of information. We need to be making sure that we are holding, Democrats accountable by sharing with all our family and friends that people are paying more for everything. Data that it's no surprise that 1% of Americans view the economy right now as excellent, while 75% are frustrated with it. And so we are going to make sure that we are also bringing people out to town halls, Democrat town halls, and letting people know, we're just not going to take this anymore.
Well, that's really what it comes down to. Let's go over disaster number one, the inflation. Mr. Skipper, I think I've talked to you before. You've been around for a while. Have you in your lifetime ever seen this type of inflation? People are comparing it to the Jimmy Carter 70s, if you will.
No. In fact, this kind of inflation has not existed in my lifetime. I was born in 1987, and this is the highest that the inflation has been since 1982. No, I've never experienced this. And you could tell that people are finally at a point where they're ready to break, and it's not surprising. I mean, we have gas